It was barely 8 a.m. when 3 black SUVs stopped in front of my house. Before I could even finish my coffee, the HOA president, Linda Mercer, stepped onto my driveway with 4 board members behind her. She didn't knock. She didn't ask. She pointed at my front yard and shouted, "This property is now under HOA review. If you don't follow our orders, we'll make sure you regret living here." My neighbors stopped mowing their lawns. Curtains moved. Phones came out. Everyone was watching. I stayed calm and said, "You're standing on my property. You need to leave." Linda laughed southwest loudly. The whole street heard it. "This neighborhood belongs to us now." Then she taped a bright red violation notice to my front door. Even though she knew I had never broken a single HOA rule. I pulled the paper off and looked straight at her. What exactly did I do? She smiled like she had been waiting for that question. "Your American flag pole is 2 inches higher than our new rule allows. Your mailbox color isn't approved anymore. Your security cameras make the board uncomfortable. You have 7 days. Or we'll start fining you every single day." None of it made sense because those new rules had never been voted on. They didn't even exist last week. One of the older neighbors quietly whispered from across the street, "They're doing it again." Before I could ask what he meant, Linda turned toward him and yelled, "Mind your own business unless you want your house inspected next." The poor man lowered his head and walked inside without another word. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about my house. It was about fear. The board had been pushing people around for years, and everyone had become too scared to speak. But they picked the wrong house this time. I wasn't looking for a fight. Yet I wasn't going to bow my head either. I simply smiled, folded the fake notice, and walked back inside. Linda thought she had won because I didn't argue. What she didn't know was that every word she had just said, every threat, every fake violation, had been recorded by 4 different security cameras. And there was something else she could never have guessed. Hidden inside my desk was a folder that could destroy the entire board if the truth ever came out. But I wasn't ready to open it. Not yet. The first move had been hers. The next one would change the whole neighborhood forever. The fake violations didn't stop. They got worse every week. My mailbox was removed while I was at work. Someone placed warning stickers on my truck. The board even hired a towing company to take my trailer from my own driveway. Linda stood across the street with a smile, thinking I would finally give up. Instead, I walked back inside, opened the folder from my desk, and called one person I had trusted for years. My friend Daniel was a real estate attorney who had helped several families fight illegal HOA actions. After looking through the papers for only a few minutes, he looked at me and said, "This board has been breaking state law for a long time." Over the next 2 weeks, we quietly collected everything. Every fake fine. Every threatening email. Every security video. Every meeting where the board ignored voting rules. Neighbors who had stayed silent for years slowly started knocking on my door after dark. One family showed me receipts proving they had paid thousands of dollars in fines that never appeared in the HOA records. A retired veteran brought recordings of Linda threatening to lower property values if people voted against her. Another neighbor admitted he had been forced to sign papers he never understood. One by one, fear started turning into courage. Linda had no idea what was happening behind closed doors. She believed everyone was still scared of her. During the next HOA meeting, she proudly announced even more rules. She wanted approval to increase fines, remove more security cameras, and give the board power to enter yards without permission. She expected easy applause. Instead, dozens of homeowners walked into the meeting carrying folders. The room became so quiet that even Linda stopped talking. Daniel stood up first. He calmly placed copies of state laws, financial records, and security photos on the table. Then I connected a projector to the screen. The first video showed Linda placing a fake violation notice on my door before any meeting had approved the rule. The second showed her telling a towing company to remove property without legal authority. The third revealed board members laughing about making certain homeowners too tired to fight back. Gasps filled the room. People who had defended the board suddenly looked at each other in disbelief. Linda jumped to her feet. "Those videos are edited," she screamed. But before she could say another word, another neighbor stood up with recordings from a different angle. Then another. Then another. For separate houses had captured the same events. There was no way to deny what everyone was seeing. One elderly woman quietly said, "You bullied us because you thought we were alone. You forgot we were neighbors." The biggest twist came moments later. Daniel handed everyone copies of the HOA's financial records. Thousands of dollars in homeowner fines had disappeared. Payments had been moved into accounts that were never approved by the community. The room exploded with questions. Linda's own treasurer lowered his head and admitted he had warned the board months earlier but had been ignored. The sheriff arrived after several homeowners requested an official report. Officers collected documents, copied the videos, and interviewed witnesses. No dramatic arrests happened that night, but the investigation began immediately. For the first time, Linda walked out of the clubhouse without saying a single word. The woman who always acted untouchable suddenly couldn't even look her neighbors in the eyes. 1 week later, the community held a special election allowed under the HOA bylaws. It became the largest meeting the neighborhood had ever seen. Families who had never attended before filled every chair. The votes were counted one by one. When the final number appeared, the room erupted into applause. Every single board member, including Linda, had been voted out. A new board took over that same evening. The first decisions were simple. Illegal fines were canceled. Wrongfully collected money was refunded. Clear financial reports became public. Every homeowner received the same voting rights. And no new rule could ever be created without community approval. A month later, I stood in my front yard raising my American flag while children rode their bikes down the street again. The same neighbors who once closed their curtains were now talking and laughing together. The fear was gone. People often ask me how one homeowner defeated an entire HOA board. I always give the same answer. I didn't beat them by shouting louder. I beat them by helping my neighbors stop being afraid. That day changed more than one election. It reminded everyone on our street that no board is above the people who elected it. And when neighbors stand together, even those who think they're untouchable can be peacefully voted out.